Alright guys, this is our second lecture of cell biology, cell the unit of life. So in last lecture we have studied about what is a cell, basic thing about cell theory, and then we studied overview of cell. Now we are going to study type of cells. As we all know that cells are basically divided into two main categories, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. And the basis of the classification of this is that presence or absence of nucleus. As you know that in prokaryotic cell there is no nucleus, while in eukaryotic cells there is a well developed nucleus. So let's start with prokaryotic cell. So the word karyotic came from karyon, which means nucleus, and pro means before. This means the word prokaryotic means before nucleus, or in another words we say nucleus is absent. Prokaryotic cell mainly represented by bacteria mostly, and blue green algae, BGA, PPLO, and mycoplasma. PPLO stands for pneumonia like organism, and BGA blue green algae. And always remember that mycoplasma is the only prokaryotic cell which lacks cell wall. Cell wall is absent in case of mycoplasma. Now let's come to the structure of prokaryotic cell. So when we study structure of prokaryotic cell, basically we study structure of bacterial cell, because mostly prokaryotic cell all the time represented by bacterial cell. So bacteria mainly shows four type of shapes, which is bacillus, cocci, spirillum, and vibrium. Let me show you the diagram all of these four shapes in our textbook, which is given in class 11th NCERT second chapter. Here you can see the different shape of bacteria: cocci, bacillus, spirilla, and vibrio. So bacillus are rod-shaped bacteria, and we are going to study the structure of these bacillus bacterial cell. Okay. So structure of prokaryotic cell, or we can say bacterial cell. Prokaryotic cell. Let me draw the diagram. So there is a well developed cell membrane surrounding the cytoplasm matrix. So cytoplasm is surrounded by cell membrane, and outside of the cell membrane a thick layer is present, which is known as cell wall. And the function of cell wall is to protect the cell and determine the shape of the cell according to the function of the cell. So cell wall is thick and strong, provide the shape and protect the cell, as you can see here. So this is cell wall. Cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, peptidoglycan. And outside of the cell wall, another layer is present, mucilaginous layer, which is present in some bacterial cells, not in all cells, which is known as glycocalyx. Glycocalyx. If the glycocalyx is loose, then we call it slime layer. And if the glycocalyx is tough and thick and tough, then we call it capsule. And cell membrane creates some infolding inside the cytoplasm, which is known as mesosome, which contain a respiratory pigment. So mesosome work as help in respiration, equivalent to mitochondria in eukaryotes. Mesosomes. And in some bacterial like cyanobacteria, these mesosome contains pigment where it is known as chromatophores. And as you know that genetic nucleus is absent in prokaryotic cell, so the genetic is not surrounded by any kind of membranous structure, as in case of eukaryote, genetic material is enclosed by double membrane structure nucleus. But in prokaryotes there is no nucleus, so genetic materials keep freely floating in the cytoplasm, and which is present in circular DNA, circular form, like this. And which is given a special name nucleoid. And these mesosomes also help in during the cell division. So these also help in cell division, respiration, and these also contain pigments in some bacteria like cyanobacteria, where it is known as chromatophores. And so sometimes these genetic material nucleoids keep attached to the mesosome when the cell prepare for division, during the cell division time. And addition to this nucleoid, another circular DNA is present, which is known as plasmid. And plasmid contains some genes like F gene, fertility gene, and R gene, antibiotic resistance gene, which is known as antibiotic resistance gene. So F gene help in transfer of DNA in between cells, and R gene provide antibiotic resistance. So like F gene help in transfer of DNA in between cells with the help of villi. Villi is outgrowth structure present on the cell surface, which help in the transfer of DNA between cells. But similar to villi, another structures but small in size present on the cell surface, which is known as fimbriae, as you can see in the diagram. These are known as fimbriae. Fimbriae help in adhesion to any surface, and these are villi. Now if bacterial cell is motile, then we can say flagella also present. So flagella if present, then we can say the bacterial cell is motile, and if flagella is absent, then we can say that bacterial cell is non-motile. And flagella mainly consist of like filament, a long outgrowth structure, then hook, and then basal body. So this is all about structure of a bacterial cell, or we can say a prokaryotic cell. One more things you will see in your notebook, that is gram positive or gram negative. Gram positive bacteria or gram negative bacteria. So gram positive bacteria are the bacteria which get strand, or which take strand, or gram negative bacteria are the bacteria which do not take strand. Bacteria do not take strand. Actually, in case of gram negative bacteria, there is an additional layer present outside of the cell wall. So this layer basically prevent to taking the strand. Cell wall, which is made up of peptidoglycan, actually take the strand and change its color. But in case of gram negative bacteria, an additional layer is present outside of the cell wall, which prevents cell wall to taking up the strand. So this is gram positive and gram negative. So gram is basically the name gram is given on the basic on in the honor of scientist. So those bacteria which take strand known as gram positive bacteria, and those bacteria which don't take strand known as gram negative bacteria. So this is all about prokaryotic cells. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and in the next video we will continue eukaryotic cells. Thank you, and if you found our videos helpful, then please don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.